Do you remember The Time Machine by H.G. Wells? Do you remember that book? Have you read that book? Did you see the film? The 1950s or 1960s early colour film with Rod Taylor, I think it was. That's the story of the time traveller who travels through time. He's devised a time machine in the Victorian period, and he calls his mates together and he demonstrates it by putting a cigar into a little tiny model. He bends this cigar into the shape of a man and he sends it off into the future. And then he reveals that he actually has a time machine. And in the back room, in the back parlour of his Victorian house, he shows his friends the actual time machine. And they look at it in amazement, not sure whether to believe him or not, that it actually goes. And they all disappear. And he says goodbye to his friend on this cold evening, as I remember in the film anyway. I did read the book as well, but the film, I suppose, is more recent and more vivid in my mind because of the pictures of it. And away he goes. He goes back into the past initially, and there he sees things that we know or have been told that have happened. And then when he's fed up with that, he decides actually what he'll do is he'll go into the future. Now, in the book, he goes far into the future, much further than I think he anticipated. But I don't know that actually that future is really as far away from where we are today as it purports in the story. For he was writing in the 1890s. I don't know if you can hear crashes and noises outside. I don't know what's going on. Apologies for that. Anyway, he goes into the future and he ends up with discovering that, of course, he's only travelled in time, not in space, so he hasn't moved around wherever it is. So we presume that he is somewhere in London in the book. And London of the future contains two types of people. You have the sort of beautiful people, the Eloi, I believe they're called. The Eloi, they're golden-haired, blue-eyed, and they all wear very white, clean clothes, at least as I remember from the film, depicted that way. I did read the book, but it was a long time, and I was in my teens. And these people have a beautiful life, a very simple life. They collect fruit and they eat veg. They grow their own veg, and there is a hall of memories. There's this hall of memories, but nobody goes there, and the books are rotten. And if you pick up the books, as Rod Taylor in the film demonstrates, he sees these memories and the books just fall to bits. He can't read them. He has no idea of what's going on. But there are what I suppose we might look at now as being some form of CD device with videos playing on rings that scroll round and give a sort of warning of what is coming. And in a way, that's what these videos are that we're talking about, not just my videos, but videos on YouTube, that in amongst the myriad of nonsense that's out there, in a way, they kind of represent what's going on now, as if social media, people who knew something was happening, was trying to warn people. But nobody took any notice, did they? They didn't take any notice because the Eloi were provided with this Garden of Eden. They had everything they could possibly want. Why would they worry? There were beautiful apples on the trees, berries on the bushes. There were rabbits all over the place, everything you could possibly want. They needed nothing. And the weather was beautiful, everything was provided for them. They didn't have to think. Except that once a day, a siren would go off. And in the film, they used a Second World War siren, which of course was very vivid and in people's minds, because it was the old, you know, that one. And as soon as that happened, whatever they were doing, whatever conversations they were having, they would stop. They would rise up and walk as a body towards these doors. And then a number of them would go in these doors, which opened, and they would disappear inside. And after 20, 30, 40, not sure how many exactly, would go in, and then the doors would shut and the sirens would stop. And the people, as if coming out of some hypnotic trance, would just turn around as if it was perfectly normal and carry on with their day. It's a bit like, if you like, you've got a field of cattle and the cattle are just busy eating the grass, minding their own business. And then at a certain time, somebody comes along and with a lorry and says, come on, let's just take some of these cattle. And they put the cattle into the lorry and the lorry disappears. And the cattle, have no idea where they're going to. Didn't realise that they're actually going to an abattoir. And the abattoir in the time machine, of course, was behind those doors, run by the second bunch of people called the Morlocks. And the Morlocks were an underground, subterranean, ugly type of people who couldn't bear the sunlight, but they somehow controlled the upper ground, the other people. They were unseen. They were the elites of their time, if you like, even though they were rather nasty, ugly, malicious and grubby and all of those things. And of course the Eloi who came in under this sort of trance-like state ended up being the food of the Morlocks. Now why the hell am I mentioning this old book from 1890s, eh? A man travels into the future, far into the future, and yet go just over 100 years, 130, 140 years from since when that book was written. And what with AI doing the thinking and universal credit coming online, and what with people having Netflix and Amazon accounts, endless YouTube videos, and somebody's sneezing out there now. The whole you can't go anywhere now these days and film in nice peace and quiet, But what with all of that happening, everything done for people, people being provided for at the the bottom thing, people not actually bothering to think and understanding that they have a body, which is an incredible thing, that they have a mind, which is a beautiful and imaginative thing, that with the combination of these wonderful things, life could be amazing, not stuck behind screens, not letting somebody else do all the thinking for them, not going to the supermarket where everything's pre-packed and ready for them to eat, and goodness knows what's in it. No, people are no longer thinking in any significant numbers that they actually are self-reliant, that they are self-sufficient, that they could have an enjoyable and incredible life looking after themselves. But the thought of having to do things for themselves and not having the money coming in, the thought of having to dig the ground and plant their own food, the thought of actually having to sit and think and create answers to problems is too much, because in this world now we've been dumbed down so much. We send our children to the dumbing down place. We call it school or something, in which children are schooled how to think or how not to think, schooled out of asking creative questions. They are schooled away from being creative, but to be obedient. And people are still sending them. We know this. We know this, the amount of YouTube videos that are talking about this now, and yet people still send their kids to school. They still send their kids to school. They still go to corporations and buy things. They buy the dumbest things. They have allowed their land to look ugly, the uglification of Britain being an example of it. We've allowed all of this to happen. People who then stand up and say, hey, wait, what are you doing? Are you sure this is the right direction that we want to go? Oh, no, no, no. Then you have the trolls, whose job it is as soon as somebody's being creative or wants to stand out and be an individual, or perhaps wants to use their body in a creative way, wants to challenge themselves, wants to go back to the land, perhaps grow their own food, wants to eat healthily. Oh, no, no. The job of the trolls is to ensure that those people do not influence the rest of the dumb society. If you're watching this and somebody is telling you that I am mad, that I am stupid, that I'm this, that and the other, you must listen to those people, because those trolls know, because that's their job, to keep you dumb. You must obey the legislation. You must obey the government. You must do as the Morlocks tell you. For those trolls are just as much the Morlocks as the government is, and all these other people that would have you be bland, so that you can travel anywhere in the country, anywhere up and down the world, and see the same things, the same type of hamburgers, the same type of cups of coffee, the same bland food wherever you go. And soon it may be mealworms and all sorts of bugs, and not real food at all. And soon it may be too late for those who wish to be individual, that you'll all be suckered in and listening to what AI tells you. And how do you know it's true? Oh no, some people have a special relationship with AI because they've managed to challenge it. So they think. They treat it as God, as if it is the creator. And they are disillusioned by all of this, that they cannot face the fact that actually the secret of life is within, is to contact your higher self and to do the thinking yourself and to be self-reliant, self-sufficient. People don't understand that. People like me, however, are complete loonies for even suggesting that you might want to be a bit self-reliant, a bit self-sufficient, that you might want to grow with a number of people and be creative and have a genuinely happy life. No, no, we're loonies. We're complete mad March hares. Absolutely. And I'm proud to be one. Thank you very much. So maybe the story of the time machine, H.G. Wells, and he knew a thing or two, did he not? Was he not one of them? He was in their crowd. I don't know whether H.G. Wells knew it was really going to happen. Maybe it was all sort of, you know, he was a very talented writer. But we know that I think he was one of the Freemasons or whatever it was. He was in the club. But did he really know it was ever going to get to this point? Did he really believe it would ever turn to this? Maybe he didn't. Maybe it was just a sort of a notion and a way of mixing shoulders. But some people took it very seriously. And here we are on the dawn of where the time machine ended up, with the Eloi being those who are obedient and will go and do whatever they're told. And then you have the Morlocks. And in 2 days' time, as I release this video, the Morlocks signal will be going out, will it not? Will it not be going out? Certainly here in Britain, or in the UK, citizens in that mythological place, the UK, of which you cannot actually find. Where is the UK? It is only an idea, a concept. But will not the government be sending out a signal to your phones on the 7th? A warning signal? It's the beginning of the Morlocks call to get you to panic, to obey, to be subservient, to do all those things that the Eloi gone. I'm afraid to say that my phone will be switched off. It will be placed into an iron box, commonly known a wood-burning stove, and it will not be receiving any signals on that day, so don't try to contact me. I'm not one of the Eloi. You may not be one of the Eloi, but do check around, see if you've got a Netflix account, Amazon Prime, connection to mainstream media. Do you still go to the supermarket and buy your food? Are you in their system? Do you take their money? Do you take their word as being true? Just double check you're not one of the Eloi, because the Morlocks are calling.